Trump is seizing the means of production. What? He really is. It's great, isn't it? The government seizing the means of production. Where are all the commies to be celebrating? They've been demanding that Trump invoke the Defense Production Act for a long time.
Even the Democrats.
That's what I mean. Yeah, the Democrats, well, of course they are. They want the government to seize the means of production.
Yeah,
right.
So of course they're happy about it. Trump has finally invoked the Defense Production Act to force the 3M Corporation to start diverting its masks to us, both from Southeast Asia and what they produce here, to stop exporting them. Naturally, this is causing a lot of people to get really angry. We have this story from the New York Times. Trump seeks to block 3M masks exports and grab masks from its overseas customers. The move would significantly expand the American government's reach and reverse President Trump's hesitant use of the Defense Production Act. This is a wartime power.
Yeah.
DPA, it was what, for like the Korean War, I think, or something in the 50s.
And it was invoked for a couple of weeks now, right?
Yeah.
Almost a month, maybe more.
But apparently,
but he hasn't used it yet.
He has now.
Oh, he has.
No,
against
3M.
Right.
This is it. This is the first time he's used it.
Yeah. So Trudeau's naturally mad. Everybody was supposed to be getting masks from us is mad. This is a domino effect.
Yeah.
We have a shortages of masks. So we were supposed to be getting masks from China. China turns around the shit.
Right.
China's like, we need them more. So then everyone in the U.S. is like, we got to start building stuff in our own country. So we do. Then a bunch of people say Trump isn't invoking the Defense Production Act and he needs to. So Trump then starts, he tells 3M. The big thing that was missed from this that, the media didn't want to really say is that these companies were already doing it, right? You had a bunch of companies that agreed.
Yeah.
He didn't need to force them to do anything. So he starts telling all of these companies, you need to, make us masks and medical supplies. And they just did it.
Yeah.
He then got criticized for not, forcing them to do it when they didn't need to.
Yeah, but can't you see, like, if he were to just invoke it and then instantly start doing it, they'd be like, well, he's the authoritarian that we thought he was.
Right.
Of course he's going to just start abusing his power.
Absolutely.
So it's like one or the other. It's like, I'm actually kind of surprised that the way that they built him up to be such this bad guy, that he didn't abuse the power right away. Like he didn't like snap his fingers like, all right, I have the power.
Yes.
Hold my beer.
Here's
what?
the bigger picture. From The Guardian, U.S. accused of modern piracy after diversion of masks meant for Europe.
Whoa.
Will this strain the relationship between Europe and the U.S.? Whether or not we're going to see World War III, the breakdown of relations between every single urban center is happening, okay?
It's true.
It's not just the EU complaining about the US. It's Germany closing its borders to France and Austria.
Yep.
It's Rhode Island ordering the National Guard and the police to go door to door looking for New Yorkers.
Yeah.
It's Trump saying, maybe we ought to quarantine New Jersey, Connecticut, and New York. So it's a breakdown of local borders, too.
Yeah, everything.
So in the last segment, we were talking about World War III. Yeah, we got, China's encroaching on the South China Sea. Venezuela's attacking this cruise liner. It's a hilarious and pathetic story. Everybody makes fun of Venezuela. They're pathetic. But now we can see that the pandemic might actually be substantially worse than this. It might be like New York City, completely separate from the rest of New York. It's going to be, Philadelphia closes the bridge. So those in the South Jersey suburbs of Philly are completely cut off from Philly.
Yeah.
Trapped on the peninsula. That's the crazy thing about all this. Like Rhode Island straight up said, if you're from New York, we're going to hunt you down. Like we're going to go door to door and we're going to find you.
Yep.
So
we don't want you here.
To what extent, I don't know how this will impact relationships between the U.S. and our allies, but we're being strained at home as well. Over in Europe, they're facing something very similar. This is from CNN. Not necessarily a big fan of CNN, but here's the story. Coronavirus sparks a war for masks as accusations fly. Even within France, we saw something crazy. There were like medical supplies coming from France to go into the UK, and France impounded the trucks. Yeah. So we're going to start fighting each other, man. Like, what happens when Canada's out of masks? Are they just going to go in and grab the truck and be like, no way, dude, we need it?
They're going to come into America and take it? Is that what you're suggesting?
Yep.
They're not going to do that.
No.
No way.
What happens when people are desperate? Venezuela just attacked a cruise ship.
That's true.
I think you're right. It's very, very extreme to think that could happen. I think we'd annex Canada before that ever happened. We'd straight up be like, welcome to the American Empire. Now we'll give you stuff.
You're right.
Or, look, the
U.S.
51st
state, Canada.
Yes.
I guess
Whoa.
That sounds great.
You're enthusiastic
Canadians.
about
yeah.
them.
Well,
I like them too, but I mean, I
Yeah,
don't want
man.
to take their
How
country away from
how
them.
many provinces does Canada have? Don't they have like 20?
They have I don't know.
Yeah, it's not just going
I
to be
thought
one.
it was less than that.
It's going to be like 75 states of America or
I thought it
something.
was
Ooh,
like 7 or
awesome.
something. Like
No,
big,
no.
Aren't they huge? Like
There's-
big, massive.
No, they got a bunch.
Different ones.
They got a bunch of problems. I don't know
Okay.
anything about Canada's government. We're Americans. We don't care.
I don't either. I don't.
They know everything about us, though, because they're America Junior. So there's a bunch of different aspects to this. And the reason why I wanted to highlight Trump's seizing of masks, and I don't mean that in a negative way. I mean, he's like taking them for American use.
Yeah.
New York announced recently that illegal immigrants will get access to the hospital system. How can we simultaneously complain that our masks are going to other countries while also claiming that people who are not citizens of our country would have access to our medical system?
You're right.
Didn't you just tell me?
What?
Didn't you just tell me that in New York City, an emergency alert went out to all medical students? Tell us what happened.
Yep. So I was gaming earlier with a few of my friends, and one of them happens to be in New York. He's in Staten Island, but that's New York City. And I heard, the emergency broadcast. Your phone lights up, and he's like, "Oh, what is this?" And he reads it, and it's basically saying, if you're a medical student, if you know anything about like being a nurse, if you're a doctor, report to your nearest hospital where we need you right now. So they're literally sending an alert system on all phones, all broadcasting in the New York area. Come and help us.
There was a report that medical students were being graduated early.
Nurses certainly were.
Nurses.
Yeah.
They were just like,
Yeah.
congratulations, you're done.
Congratulations.
It's like,
on
but I've never actually,
graduation.
don't care,
Nope.
go there.
We'll send you the diploma in a few years.
Yeah,
Yep.
we're kicking the bird out of the nest.
Here's your clinicals for you.
So
Now
check.
fly.
Yeah.
So you mean to tell me that Europe is fighting amongst the countries within their own union over resources and borders? Even in the U.S., we got border disputes between states. Trump had to dispatch big hospital ships to L.A. and New York. And New York is like, but don't worry, non-citizens will have access to all of this healthcare. The first thing I'll point out, they should.
Agreed.
In the immediate.
Yeah.
Because for one, we want to stop the spread of the virus,
Yeah,
and there are people we have to treat and make sure they live. But there will be a reckoning, because we cannot come out of this with people asking. People are going to be asking the question,
To me, that sounds like a seeds for the Civil War.
right?
Like, why
Oh, yeah.
why does your grandma get to live and mine doesn't?
And-
Because your grandma's taking her bed? She got sick first? No, that's not fair. You guys
Oh
aren't
wait,
citizens.
your grandma's not a citizen?
Oh, snap.
You wanna know what's scary, though?
Man.
You want to know what's scary though?
What?
It's really easy for me to say right now we should definitely treat non-citizens, illegal immigrants.
Right.
Yeah.
We're not
But what
desperate.
happens when there's no hospitals left and there's bodies lining the streets and there's someone who's not a citizen in front of the hospital and the doctor's coming out and there's someone who is with their mom? They're going to be like, I will end you to save my mother's life. And that's when it gets crazy. Right now, not every hospital is overloaded. They're getting there.
Right.
All I can think of is when you're coming back into the country, there's a U.S. citizen line and a non-U.S. citizen line. And I see that happening.
Yep.
You know,
Yeah.
why wouldn't that be the case? All the American citizens go in until there's no more. Then they start taking in the non-Americans.
Yeah.
It's
You know,
we had the open borders activists for
Mhm.
years saying
Yeah.
like we should decriminalize border crossings. Doesn't every single Democratic candidate look like a moron right now when they all said on the debate stage, we will give access to health care, we will decriminalize border crossings, we'll put a moratorium on deportations. We don't have enough hospital beds. New York is launching emergency shelters, emergency hospitals. They're launching ships because we don't have the resources for this. And the entire thing right now is that Trump has to invoke a wartime measure to seize masks that were going to be sold to other countries. He instructs 3M to stop exporting out these masks. We were criticizing China for doing the same thing.
Yeah.
That's true.
So these countries buy the masks from us, and then Trump steps in? No. Yet people had the nerve this entire time. So there's going to be a reckoning. You know, we talked about the feminism aspect of all of this,
Yeah.
going back to the 1950s. It's not even about that.
Yeah.
If Rhode Island is enforcing its borders, if Louisiana and Florida are enforcing their borders,
Yeah.
you think the United States as a whole is not going to enforce its borders? It's going to be crazy.
You know, I for those, some know that I've been playing Division 2, and it goes back to New York. So I've been running around New York. It's really cool. I used to live in New York for 17 years. And the final fight is on Liberty Island, which is the Statue of Liberty. And there was a quote on the wall right when you get in there. And I was like, I read it and I was like, whoa, like that's And I'm
What's
going
the
to read
quote?
it. I just pulled it up here. It says, "Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free, the wretched refuse of your teeming shore. Send these, the homeless, tempest-tossed, to me. I lift my lamp beside the golden door." And it's like, wow, like that is not what I feel the general environment of America is right now.
It used to be so much easier to say that.
I know, you're right.
Yeah.
It used
And
to
now,
be easier.
now we have 28,000 people per square mile in New York City. Yeah. How many hospital beds do they have?
3,000.
How many, you know how many police officers New York City has?
What, like 8,000 or
8,000.
something? 8,000?
And 1 in
Right.
6 is infected.
Dude.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I could be wrong about that. Fact check me. I didn't pull that source up. I always want to be careful with this. I always line up all my sources whenever I say stuff. But I was watching the news the other day, and that's what I remember seeing. I'll tell you what, man. If the NYPD gets crippled, someone's going to be hungry. Someone's going to go to a hospital, and they're going to be like, "I'm sick, save me, please." And they're going to be like, "We can't."
Yeah.
But it also goes back to, you know, how bad things can really get with the hospitals doing the talking about the do not resuscitate orders.
Yeah.
I think we're heading towards, it's not going to be scapegoating. You know, people want to say it's scapegoating of like minorities or you know, whatever. But you better damn well believe that someone's going to be with their mom or their daughter. Wait till you see some dude who's like 45. He's got, you know, 13, 14-year-old daughter who's sick and coughing up blood.
Yep.
And then he gets to the
Oh,
hospital
man.
and there's someone who's not a citizen. He's going to be like, you know what? I'm going to be very careful how I phrase this, but I'll tell you that dad would be like, I have no problem going to prison for the rest of my life to make sure my daughter lives.
That's his hill to die on. For
Yeah, oh,
sure.
yeah.
Yeah, that's every parent's hill to die on.
And
You're right.
and here's the thing: there's gonna be a lot of Americans who are gonna be like, I don't blame them. Those people weren't supposed to be. You know, they came here illegally. They broke our laws. They cut the line. They displaced other people.
Yep. Why are they getting that?
And
instead of
I'll
that
make it clear:
American child.
they, as human beings, non-citizens should receive the treatment.
Of
100%.
course, yeah.
My fear is that we will come to a point where all the hospitals are overloaded. They're already treating people in the hallways. We had 1,000 people die the other day in a single day.
Dude, in New York City, it's gone a little step above the DNR. They paramedics, when they find people who are in cardiac arrest, if they cannot resuscitate on site, they leave them.
Whoa.
Wow.
You're dead. That was jacked up. I was like,
We are going to
what is
see
gonna
a
happen?
reckoning in this country once this is over, where it's going to be before the 1950s. It's going to be hardcore nationalist,
Yep.
lock the borders down, manufacturing. If you're not a citizen, who are you? What are you doing here?
Yep.
It's going to be different.
Excuse me. Let me see your papers.
Yeah, it's going to be way different.
We're already
Seriously.
doing that. Are you serious?
No, I know.
My friend
Yeah.
posted. I saw this on social media, holding a badge that says essential worker.
Yeah.
You go outside without it, they're like, "What are you doing?"
I would have
Yep.
that if I still worked at the hospital, because that's what you get. Like, you have to be able to demonstrate that you're
I mean,
really working.
that's been the case I lived in Arizona for a long time, and in pretty much anywhere along the southern border, you'd have to produce. I mean, even, you know what? Driving here, we got pulled over.
Oh.
And my wife is a Swedish citizen, and we're married now, so she can live here legally. And she didn't have her passport, and they were like, "Are you U.S. citizens?" And she couldn't say yes because she's not a citizen.
Right.
She's got a green card.
Right.
But I didn't have my passport. The guy didn't even ask me anything. She just said, "Oh, I'm not," and he was like, I saw the look on his face, like, "Whoa, all right." And she's like, "Well, let me get my passport." And like, my car was packed, you know, so she had to get out of the car and go walk around. Suddenly, there was 13 police officers surrounding my car.
Oh
When did this happen?
gosh.
Driving here when I was
Whoa.
moving here.
So just a couple months ago.
Yeah. And I was just like, whoa,
Whoa.
like I'm still
Whoa.
sitting in the passenger seat because it was her turn to drive at that moment. So it was just like, you know, I'm like, okay, you know, this is weird. But I knew she had a green card. She got it in her backpack and came back around, handed it to the guy. And he was like, okay, all right, you can go. Didn't even ask me. I could have been an illegal. he didn't even ask me for anything. Just the fact that she said no,
Threw
I
him
need to
off.
go get this. Definitely. But I mean, anyone could have. They probably were following protocol. Like if it was an illegal who was going into the back to get a gun or something, you know, it's like they surrounded our car though. It was very quickly, and they didn't say anything. It was like a unspoken thing. Like they just all knew, and they just like filtered out and just were surrounding the car. I was like, whoa, this is nuts.
dude.
This is scary, man. You know why? Because I think back to like, I know I really hate making the comparisons because everyone does it. You know, Godwin's law?
Yeah.
World War II. When they were demanding papers, there was no legitimate reason for it other than they were, anti-Semitic, they were racist, they were supremacists.
Yeah.
If you take all of that ideology but tack on an actual pandemic,
Right.
then everyone will agree with you and say, oh, please check their papers. You know what they're doing in China? They're making you get a code to prove you're not sick.
Right.
Yeah, the
And-
green phone thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
I was reading a story about it that you have to like check in, and if you leave the city, then your code becomes void, and they track you
man.
via GPS.
No way.
Yeah, they're putting ankle monitors on people.
Yes, and Google is starting to use location source to kind of track how well people are complying with quarantine orders.
Man. Thanks for checking out this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. We do the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. If you want to catch the full show, tune in to this channel, subscribe, hit the like button, or check us out on iTunes and Spotify, and we will soon have this podcast up for free on all podcast platforms. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all in the next episode.